Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of ESPN 9, The Nacho, covering all the most important sporting events, including exclusive coverage of Goodell Hunting's Fantasy Football League. I realized I was already running a bit late, so I'm going to just start it off. I keep missing that Thursday deadline, but I make it in before Sunday, so that's the important thing, right? Let's start off with my loss, bringing me to a losing record of 4-5 against Luna. It was rough. I had Tom Brady on the bye, and of course I had Tyler Lockett as well. So that already made it a little painful. And being outscored at quarterback 45-16 really didn't help. Lamar Jackson getting 3 touchdowns, 120 yards rushing, and 266 yards passing really helped Luna get the win on this one. Of course, Derek Carr, 1 passing touchdown, outshone by his 2 interceptions and 296 passing yards. Not enough to give me some good points. Cortland Sutton, Denver, got a good win against Dallas, but it was largely a defensive win. With Jerry Jeudy back, we'll see how much value Cortland Sutton has, but he only got 1 reception for 9 yards and a 2-point conversion. I picked up Van Jefferson Jr., trying to get myself a bit more points there. Didn't work out for me. 41 receiving yards. He did have a couple weird calls, but either way, can't complain. Moving on, the only good person on my team, Joe Mixon, 2 rushing touchdowns, 64 yards rushing, 46 yards receiving. Really kept me in the game, but got me over 100 points, but not enough to win. Looking over at Luna, Michael Pittman Jr. keeps rolling, 64 yards receiving with a touchdown. Keenan Allen looking good. Dalvin Cook got himself injured on this one. He might not be in for the next one. I think that Luna already did pick up his backup, so we'll see how that looks for him. Wish that could have happened this week, but either way, I wouldn't have gotten the win. He did get -1 from his kicker while I got 12, so I did have a good move there, but not enough. Let's move on. Our weekly winner this week was Farfy, and I just want to point out 0.9 over Penny, who's already won 2, so she got herself this one, and it's probably the lowest weekly winner that we've seen this year. She did get the win against Nate. Calvin Ridley, he's kept Calvin Ridley in, even though Calvin Ridley, for whatever reason, is not playing football right now. Not sure why. He did start Jerry Jeudy in his first week back, so he's obviously paying attention at some point. Jerry Jeudy did get 69 yards. He had a couple, I guess Stafford did all right, 295 yards with a touchdown, 2 interceptions, so not even 20 points there. Jacobs, 76 yards. Really nothing to talk about. Looking over at Farfy's side, Nick Chubb, that's who got her this win, 137 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. And then, of course, Jalen Hurts did pretty well, 162 yards passing, and then 62 yards rushing with a touchdown. And Robert Woods, Melvin Gordon, both of them pretty good as well. Melvin Gordon really carried the ball well for Denver. They got the surprising upset win against Dallas, and got Farfy that weekly winner. Moving on to the second place score by 0.9 was Penny against Andrew. Kirk Cousins had himself a pretty good game, 29.88 points, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing, and 187 yards. But Jonathan Taylor was who we should write home about. 172 yards rushing, 28 yards receiving, 2 rushing touchdowns. Really got her a solid win here. Herbie keeps looking good for Bloxy, 40.84 points, 356 passing yards, 2 touchdowns passing, and 1 rushing, but not enough to get him the win. The rest of his team, most of them in single digits. Amari Cooper and Tyreek Hill, both surprisingly bad games. Boston Scott, not sure why you would start him at all. Let's take a look at his bench. Is everybody on a bye or something? Oh, he looks like he should have started Hollywood Brown. Of course, he needed a running back, and he's kind of short on running back, so we'll see. Maybe he needs to make a trade. Probably should have put David Montgomery in there. Either way, wouldn't have gotten him the win. And then Penny's team mostly looking solid. Not too much to talk about there either. Miami defense and New England defense were surprisingly 2 of the highest point getters in this game. 3 interceptions, 5 sacks, and a fumble recovery for Miami. 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and only 1 to 6 points allowed for New England. Moving on, Let's take a look at Caroline versus Jake. Jake, 26.24 points from Garoppolo, 326 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, looking pretty good there. He did get the win, giving Caroline another loss. That is, I think, what is that, like 5 in a row or something like that? Let's take a quick look at how she's looking. Caroline, that's only 1 loss in a row, so I guess she did get a win in there, but she's now on the losing side of things as well. Welcome to my world. She kept Kyler Murray in there. Bold move considering he didn't play. And Greg Zuerlein, COVID, didn't play as well. So really not looking good there. Maybe she's busy right now, I guess. Either way, she's not going to make the playoffs if she keeps people in who don't play. Devontae Smith looked pretty good for 22.6 points, 116 yards. And a touchdown. Najee Harris always looking good, 62 yards and 1 touchdown. Not as good as the projections, but still 20 points. Can't complain about that. And Travis Kelce, one of the only people again looking good for Kansas City, who was playing against Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers out because he's a piece of shit human being. Looking over at Jake, who got the win. McCaffrey, not looking too great. 54 yards rushing, receiving 52 yards rushing. No touchdowns, but he'll come back. And Cooper Kupp, 95 yards receiving, and 6 first downs. So that's pretty good. Got himself 18 points there. Moving on, Morgan still in first place. 3rd overall score this week. He's looking good. Josh Allen did not help him out this week. Only 14.16 points, 264 pass yards, and 2 interceptions by Josh Allen. They lost that game 9-6. What kind of score is that in a football game? And unfortunately for Morgan, he's got the stack with Stephon Diggs, 85 yards receiving. Didn't get him too much there, but he did have James Conner, who suited up in lieu of who's the regular running back again? I'm forgetting. Chase Edmonds. That's right. So he suited up instead of Chase Edmonds, got himself 44.9 points, 2 rushing touchdowns, 96 rushing yards, 77 receiving yards. It's going to be hard to sit him when Chase Edmonds comes back. George Kittle, 101 reception yards and a touchdown. And Elijah Mitchell, 43 receiving yards, 36 rush yards. He's looking good as well. Manny, once again, did not break 100 points. He is now 3-6 on the season, sitting in 11th place. 0 points from DeAndre Hopkins, who did not play, kept him in there. Carson Wentz was the best on his team, 3 touchdowns and 272 yards. Jordan Howard also looked good, 71 rush yards and a touchdown, but no one else did. And he kept the Baltimore defense again against Minnesota, got him -3 points. A little worse than the -1 that the Colts surprisingly got against the Jets. Moving on to our last one, lowest scoring one of the week. Kyle again squeaks out a win, 97 to 77.54 against Jack. Kyle couldn't even break 100 points, but still gets a win. What kind of karma does this man have? He must have been someone good in a past life. What year did Gandhi die? Either way, looking at his team, really, how did he get this win? Jordan Lovely, 15 points. Cordell Patterson keeps rolling. I don't know what this guy is. He's just having a resurgence in the second half of his career with 19 points. Either way, look at the rest of it. I mean, what is going on there? You look over then at Jack. Mahomes is really struggling, 14.64 points. I don't know what is going on with this young man. He needs to pull it together. He kept in Myers with only 1 reception. Kamara, 22.7, but he got himself hurt. He's going to be out next week, so that's going to be hard for Jack. We've got Waller looked pretty good, but really, I mean, -5 from the San Francisco defense. I mean, it's hard to talk about Jack when you only get 77.54. Let's look at those standings. Right now, we are sitting the Grand North. We've got Penny sitting up top with Jack right behind her. Both 5-4. Jack's now got 3 losses in a row, while Penny's got 3 wins in a row, so she's doing well. Manny's sitting at the bottom with 3 losses in a row also, and I just got myself a loss, so I need to get my team to pick it up. Hopefully with these, I think most of my buys should be over at this point, so that should help me out. Francophone South, we've got Kyle sitting up top 6-3. Everyone else in this division has a losing record at this point now that Caroline is 4-5. And then down to our all-winning division, the Anglophone region, 7-2 for Morgan, 5-4 for everybody else. Right now, it looks like the Anglophones are going to be dominating the playoff sweepstakes, but we'll see. There's still a lot of football to play. That was only the week 9. We are going into week 10. It's not looking good for me against Jake, but of course I've already challenged him to that water bet. I believe I now owe Luna one, so whenever we get in person, he can throw water in my face, and I'll have to throw water right back in his because he still owes me one. And then looking at the rest of us, it looks like it's going to be another low-scoring week. It looks like Caroline might get herself a win. I'm just hoping that everybody else who's ahead of me loses. So I know it's impossible that 8 teams can lose, but as many of those as possible. I'm really not going to catch up to Morgan or Kyle, so they can just keep rolling. But otherwise, everybody else, go ahead and take that L for me. All right, for ESPN The Nacho with exclusive coverage of the Goodell Hunting Fantasy Football League, this is Graham Button signing off.